And how's it going, folks? Hopefully you are doing well. Welcome to another stream. A couple little different things. I added this nice water cooler background when we're chatting. Well, hopefully you are doing well. Let's turn that off in case there's an echo. Because the sound check was, I think, was doing repeat. Yeah. I've had a pretty good week. Hopefully you have also. I actually had a 3-day week, so I had a Monday and Tuesday off for a vacation. Hey, what's up, Conroy, Whitney? How's it going? Thanks for the follow. I7, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Forever Stare, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, everyone? So you're doing well. How was the Conroy? So Conroy is a fellow coworker over here at Zeal, and they at 12 o'clock Pacific time they do a Twitter Space. We do want to kind of like conversation pairing. I don't know how to categorize it. Talking about Web3 and working on a Web3 project. So if you're kind of curious about joining in a conversation about Web3, learning about Web3, and then building out a Web3 application, it's Web3 You and Me. Yes, that's it. So super cool. And Poisonous Cupcakes, thanks for stopping by. And Only Lacoste, what is up with you with the 5 months? That deserves air horns. Yes, it's Ryan. Poisonous Cupcakes is Ryan. I love the name. Yeah, so Web3. Actually, let's add that let's try to add that as a command right now. Commands add web 3, and let's do there's my string closed caption reminding me to turn it on. I 100% intentionally do that, and I definitely don't forget to turn it on. And what I'm doing is I'm just double checking that feature still works every single day that I stream. 100%. So Web3, join in. Conversation about Web3. Awesome coworkers every Friday at 1 p.m. PT. And then let me try to copy and paste that link. That's not how I copy and paste, by the way. Is that not how we add the command in through the command? There we go. Web3. Boom. Cool. You already upgraded to Web 4. Web 4 is a complete unplug and IRL, man. That's gonna be really hard tech to implement, you know? Really, I mean, tech is always trying to make things more high fidelity than actual physical reality somehow. So who knows how far we can? Who knows if we'll be able to get that far? Did I? Oh, let me double check it now. Do 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 do. Scrolly, scrolly, scrollies. Ooh. Let's take a look at what we got here. Oh, my face is covered up by chat. Look at that. Ooh. I forgot to fix that. Let's fix that real quick. My webcam's here, so that means I should do my webcam there. And then let's make me a little bit smaller. You can totally tell that I was definitely fiddling with settings just a little while ago. There we go. You guys always get to see what the sausage was made. How sausage was made. It's actually 12 p.m. Damn it. I'll fix this right now. I was like projecting my own. We'll fix this right now. We'll do it live. We're doing it live. That's the perfect appropriate response to that. I don't remember how to do the edit command, so we're just going directly into the dashboard for Stream Elements to fix it. Custom commands. And we got Web 3 right there. Let me go here. And 12 p.m. PT. Boom, done. Now if we do Web 3 again. Bam. All right, so what do we got here? I7 sent us, this module contains the required macro functions to define our own DSL. So comdex command. So this is the DSL you were using for doing command line stuff, right? Yummy, yummy tea. Learning project for macros. Nice. Also -8 GMT. Now we're getting too detailed. That's really cool. This is really cool. So today we're going to continue working. We're going to try to finish the work that I was doing with getting OAuth login for Notion working. Last stream we were in the middle of implementing the OAuth feature set. So we're using there's a very popular plugin or library for Elixir called OAuth that kind of does the generic authentication flow for OAuth, and then you write plugins for the different platforms that implement OAuth login. So GitHub, Google, Twitter, and in order for our application to work, we are going to need authentication credentials for a Notion user. So and that's done through OAuth. So last stream was going through and building and basically kind of building out all the requirements for getting basically the plugin for OAuth to work. We're writing it within our application with the future intention of potentially exporting out this code and bundling it into a library on its own. So that's the intention. But when we were in the middle of doing that, we were coming across a couple hiccups with the configuration. Join Builder Argus. So Builder Argus is doing exclamation join, but so I mentioned this in the last stream, not the last Zeal stream, water cooler stream. I mentioned this on what day is today? Wednesday. I mentioned this on Wednesday that actually I might be doing a little bit more streaming, especially doing a couple more streams during work hours. And one of those types of streams is going to be an afternoon Pomodoro type of stream. So what the intention what the intention of that doing is I was inspired by watching some other streamers doing Pomodoro kind of co-working streams. So the way that's going to work is so the way that's going to work is basically for a couple hours and still TBD. It's just going to be a stream of not sharing my screen, not showing, basically it's just going to be, basically kind of like almost like this screen, it's just a chatting screen where you're just watching me work. And there's just going to be lo-fi hip hop going on. You're not going to be seeing what I'm working on because I'm working on client work. But the idea is that it's a place to go to have, to code with other coders and, chat in the middle, but, with the idea of like focused work time, because it's a Pomodoro stream. So focused work time, a short break time where we can like chat, answer questions, and then get back to work. That's going to be the that's the kind of like the intention, just to provide, and it also doubles up as a good way for people to casually come in and ask questions and get help and type of stuff like that. So, and it can double up. Yeah. So, I mean, we work in a remote environment. A lot of us work in a remote environment now. So a lot of us want kind of people like have Twitch on in the background or videos or like a music on in the background to try to fill that void. But, being able to join a kind of co-working stream is a cool idea. So I want to experiment with that and see where that goes. And the join command would be, there'll be several commands to join the Pomodoro so you can gather stats and stuff like that. So joining, joining, which Builder Argus did, would be joining the Pomo, and you would, and then it would track stats for you. So like what the title says, a little bit of Elixir and then maybe a little bit of JS later. After we finish the OAuth here, what I want to do is I want to kind of prototype creating adding Pomo features to my chatbot, just to do basic commands to start a Pomo for a certain amount of minutes and then have it end, and then it automatically switches to break time. And then it goes into chat and being like, hey, break's over, get back to work, slackers, kind of like a boss. But so that's the thing. So after finishing the OAuth implementation, whether it's going to be today or the next stream, going to be working on updating the chatbot and then prototyping that work. And then maybe in the future, we could try taking it and just building it like just a dedicated Pomo service, like just a dedicated chatbot that just works for anybody on Twitch. So start small, have it working on this channel. Maybe we could roll it into like something that's a little bit more ubiquitous in the future, which would be pretty cool. And the first prototype is going to be in JavaScript because I already have my chatbot's already written in JavaScript. No. Do Elixir. In the future, the second iteration will be written in Elixir using XIRC. Well, no, actually not using XIRC. It'll be using the chatbot that's already that's already Twitch chatbot for Elixir. Alrighty, so what we were trying to do last time was we were trying to do auth Notion and trying to go and authenticate with Notion. So this is supposed to go and take us to Notion, so Notion can ask us verification for permissions in the OAuth flow. But we were getting this missing redirect URI, and I'm pretty sure that just means that this URL here just doesn't have the proper in the parameters that are being passed in to Notion for the redirection. it's not working properly, potentially. But just to double check, let's go over to the Notion documentation. Let's take a look at my integration. Let's make sure that we're setting the correct callback. So we set it to localhost 4000. That's good. It could also be we can set on the Notion side, so it's already there. So we're building all this stuff from scratch for the configuration. So I'm pretty sure the it isn't located there. But give me a second here. I forget if this URL will accidentally show like the secret. So I'm just gonna hide my screen. Localhost callback. Ooh, you're right. Maybe you're right. Okay, I'm getting callback. Ooh, you're right. It is that. Hold on, I'm going to clean this up before I show my screen. You are 100% correct. Good call. Good call. Stop it. Yep. Yeah, so here's the redirect URI right here that I just copied and pasted. It's HTTP localhost 4000 auth/notion/callback. Yep. But we just have auth. So we got to do HTTP /localhost 4000 auth/notion/callback. No. Notion. Oh yeah, there is a typo. Oh, you can't edit this. You have to type out the whole thing again. Localhost 4000 auth/notion/callback. There we go. And save our changes. Good. We'll have the documentation open just in case. Cool. So we'll close that. Save that. I even have it in this documentation right here that it's auth notion callback. in the documentation I wrote it correctly in my code. I just did not write. I just not set up Notion itself. Okay. Let's try this over again. So auth Notion. Did the settings not stick yet? Auth Notion callback. Try this again. Invalid redirect URI still. Yeah, let me refresh this to see if it's HTTPS. That's what's wrong. When I was doing the when I was letting it autocomplete, it ended it with HTTPS. Auth Notion callback. So HTTP +4000 auth Notion callback. There we go. Now we click save. Hey, look. It automatically accepted it after that's actually really interesting. I didn't have to refresh this page. All of a sudden it just accepted it. So I wonder what they're using on the back end, because it just basically auto refresh this. That's actually the first that I've ever seen that happen, where an app somehow has a WebSocket set up to refresh the page you use for authentication. All right, so here's all the permissions, and then we're going to select the pages, and we're going to do Notion helpers page and allow access. And then this redirects, but we don't have any of the redirection flow working right now. I just wanted to double check that part. And it checks. Yeah, I don't know, but that's pretty cool. All right, so I knew this is I didn't intentionally finish the whole flow, so we're getting an error because not everything is completely implemented for the Notion stuff. So what happens is, let's go to the controller, and we have this currently inside the user session. And then here's the callback right here. And it looks like it failed. Let's see. Let me make sure I'm not going to show anything private as I scroll up. So we get a callback, processing, callback, and then it fails. One amazing thing can only be improved by setting the opacity to 0.4. Actually, it's like at 0.5, 0.45 or 5. I'm testing it out. I enabled it for fun. Yeah, let me double. Let's see. What I'm gonna do here is we're gonna check. Let me check the settings real quick, but require IEX. Yeah, that or I need to refresh VS Code because I was fiddling with the settings earlier. It's at 0.5. All right, let's try this again. Like page. So we're not getting. Oh, opacity for whole editor. It's you can't set opacity for. It's very difficult to set the opacity for the editor on OS X. On Windows, you can just install an extension to do it really easily, but on OS X, you have to like disable like security settings and stuff like that. And so that's a no. That's a big fat nope. Yeah, it is too bad. good reason to switch to Linux. Maybe that's a pretty extreme reason to want to switch to Linux. Okay, so we got to figure out why the callback errors out, because it's not reaching this point here. It's happening somewhere deeper in the guts of the application. So there is this handle callback. Is there another config for a redirect URL in the Notion config? No. I defined that redirect URL in the configuration that I defined over here. So Notion, auth Notion callback. Yeah, so this is all 100% coded ourselves right now. And all this too. So this is actually the middleware between for the plugin code for OAuth to connect to it. There's a failure, Notion failures included, OAuth failure. So it could be here that it's that it's catching this handle callback area, because the session controller does use the OAuth plug and use these helpers. So we'll see where we stop. Credentials, and then this is like a bunch of stuff to go and fetch additional information that we don't really need right now. All right, let's see if we can replicate this again. Okay, we hit the debugger, so it is in the handle callback that at least we're hitting in here. So we're in this method, we're in this function here, and we have the code. Option. So the only downside to the debugger tool for Elixir is you can't step through the code. That is the major bummer. And you can print out all the information, but you can't do anything about the. Is it even a debugger at that point? Yeah, it's more like a I guess like a code freeze. Yeah, because you can't do next. It just does run. It just does commands. So it's like it's just like a window into your code. Let's try moving this down here. And see what happens. Okay. So what is our module? Module is just an error, apparently. So I should have a token information. I'm going to hide this real quick. Oh, because it errored out, I got to freaking... redo the request again. Yes. Token. If access token, so give me a second here to check if the access token is nil. Access token. So I do have the access token. And so that does nothing. Okay, so getting all the token stuff works fine. I do see, okay, this just printed out an error, so I'm just gonna take a look. Okay, so I think I see where the issue is, and just by coincidence, looking at what's being logged out, I'm seeing this message here: body invalid grant, and that's when it's trying to do that's when it's trying to get. Well, we did get the token properly actually because this worked. We used the code to get the access token, so all of that worked. I would need to look at what do you call it? How, because we based this off of GitHub's flow, the GitHub repository. So handle callback. So what happens after handle callback? So I verified that handle callback works, getting the token works, and then it just kind of drops from there. Let's go look at OAuth. Where's the link to the other providers? Or the strategies, I guess is what they're just being called. So strategies, and then we base this off of the GitHub strategy. And then we'll use the VS Code web editor to browse. Oh, it remembers the files that we had open last time. That's funny. So here's handle callback. For them, they fetch the user. Oh, I see what's going on here. So because we're not fetching a user, we basically have to do an else here. And we want to set on the connection the notion token is equal to the token. Yeah, this is doing a request to get the additional user information from the API to load into, which we'll see right here, to load into the connection information for further processing later on for whoever's using the GitHub integration. But all we need is the GitHub token because we are not doing anything else. Oh, we can't get any additional information. So why is it saying your variable connection is unused? Yeah. We don't care about we're not using it, so we're just going to return it. I'm pretty sure that fetch user probably also returns the connection itself based off this. Yeah. I'm wondering if there's any other additional information that we can potentially populate. Authentication guide. So after granting we get access token, workspace ID, workspace icon, bot ID, and then the owner. So maybe I'll just populate that information. I'll need to take a look inside of the connection information, I think. It's probably going to be in the params, I bet. That will require another debugger. .pry. Just like that. Okay, let's redo this authentication. Selecting pages, select that page. Click yes. And then let's check, and then I'm going to check connection params. Okay. So connection params is just that, and then after we get the and then getting the token just going to return back token. But this request is supposed to return back a couple more things in it. So for ours, in the OAuth, so we can close config, close this, or I guess we'll keep these open. So here's the get token method that's being called from here. So it's dynamically calling saying for the module that's passed in, call get token. And then that does that. But get token also returns back along with supposed to return back just a little bit more information. Hey! Amino coming in with the raid. How's it going, everyone? I was lurking on your stream today. I did not join any pomos, but it was in the background. How's it going, smart people? Yes. Everyone is a smart person that is in this chat, whether you're old, new to coding, don't know how to do coding, you're all smart people in my opinion. But Amino raid, woo! How's it going, everyone? And welcome to the water cooler stream. How y'all doing? My name is Talk to Me Gooseman, and I am a full stack web developer at Coding Zeal. And we spend our Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific doing coding and making some stuff, answering some questions, and helping out people if I can. Thank you very much for those follows, Ditzy, QT Line, and what up, Liz? I probably said that wrong, and I apologize for everyone that I said wrong names to, but thank you very much for those follows. Thank you very much for that raid. How was doing the co-working Pomo stuff? Looks like you were just chugging along. You made some on the fly udon with a miso base. I saw that. Pretty cool. And welcome, everyone. Since it is Friday, does anyone have any cool things to report in for the Friday? Any wins of the week? Any stuff you learned? Anything interesting that you want to share? Feel free to. String along is a good description. Pretty good at making food. Yes. I love the fact that like while you're making the food, your kitty was kind of like creeping in the room and looking around, like it wasn't sure whether to go inside. It was great. You got a lot of work done. That's awesome. My week started off great because I had 2 days off. Went to Disneyland, so that was like the win of the week for me. Went to Disneyland, had a great time with my wife. We had a lot of fun. We stayed at a hotel that was within walking distance, so we were able to like during lunchtime go walk, rest, and then walk back. The best week starts with days off. Exactly. Spa tonight. Yes. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yum, 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 yum. So how y'all doing? So what this channel, what I do almost every single time I stream in this channel is work on do programming. So I'm a Ruby on Rails developer doing React JS typically, but as of late been doing a lot of Elixir programming on the stream. One of the things I do is that I am the creator of the string closed captioner, so that the closed captions extension that you see on the screen right now, here, I have this really cool thing that I can do. So it's like in this corner of the screen right here is the extension I built. Right there, yeah. Let's go a little further down, right there. So that's what I made, and that's what I've been working on for years now. But I also make other cool Twitch extensions, stuff like that. So that's what we do. What are we programming today, Nate? We are finishing OAuth integration. You got to show me how to draw on the screen. It's actually Twitch Studio that lets you draw on the screen. So I use Twitch Studio for the Friday stream, so I don't have to juggle configurations between OBS and Twitch and a bunch of OBS profiles. Let's go back over here. So right now we're just working on some OAuth integrations for Notion to allow our application to log in using or get credentials for Notion, and we're debugging the whole, trying to get that set up 100% working. And if you got any questions or anything like that, you're always welcome to ask questions. Whether there is no stupid questions, because we all got questions, and sometimes it's so hard to get answers. Ooh, I'm noticing some additional stuff that I missed. Okay, let's update this copy here. Ooh, DeLorean. Thank you very much for that follow. Is that a play on words for DeLorean, the car, the super cool car, the car that looks super epic awesome? All right. Yeah, exactly. Nice. A couple years back, I actually saw a DeLorean actually driving on the highway. Like when I was commuting home from work, there was an actual DeLorean, pristine condition, actually moving, like physically moving, not like stationary and someone showing it off. Like it was an actual working DeLorean, and it blew my mind. And then it disappeared into the future. Well, I mean, I haven't seen it since, so I will assume that it went back to the future or to the past, because we're going. I always wonder, like, because it's like Back to the Future, but wouldn't that be Forward to the Future? Why, at least for the title, You get what I'm trying to say? As long as you stay under 88. They were going under 88. I will say that, because I passed them, and I was going 80. So. I was going 80. I was on my motorcycle at the time. And I was lucky enough that I had my GoPro recording. So I was able to capture a photo of it. I don't know where the photo is right now, but I caught a photo of it. Took a snapshot out of the camera, out of the footage. I completely forgot what we were doing. So we're grabbing the token, and then I was trying to figure out how to pull out the user information, because after we grab the token, I'm wondering if the user information is in here. Whoa. Require IEX. Try. All right, we're doing more debugging. Yeah, because this is it where we see the codes for the response, and I want this information. Let's see. So OAuth. Technically, if we accidentally show credentials, it's not that big of a deal, because I'm just going to recreate the app anyway once we go to production. So not too stressed about that. All right, here we go. What is our client? Oh, wait, I got to say yes. A second here. While I try to see what this does. Undefined method or private. What you talking about? Okay, I gotta redo this. No, don't do that way. No. Continue. Continue. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, I see what's going on. All right, give me a second here. Let's do the button. Let's do the button clicky over here. Do this again. But Amino, if you're around, you've inspired me to try to do some co-working streams, to do at least one co-working stream a week. I was just talking about it earlier. Yeah, doing co-working programming streams in the afternoon. All right, so this is where things are going wrong. This is where it's airing out. Require IX. Yep, I want to do a co-working stream / being able to help people, basically. Like co-working, companionship in terms of like, working with others, listen to music, but then also if people have technical questions, it's a place they can go to ask questions. That's the goal. All right, we hit the so we're not gonna, I don't care about that debugger. I don't care about that debugger. I do care about this debugger. There we go. Let's see. This is the good stuff right here. Under the Notion token. We got the access token. We got the other params. What's important here for me is the other params. This whole section right here. Under Notion access tokens. So it would be Notion token. So I was eating falafel, Back to the Future. If you think about it, Marty travels back in time to the past, but from the frame of the reference in the past, he's traveling back to the future. True. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. And thank you for reading me Hydrate Cat. That's what I'm doing right now. Drinking some tasty Gamaicha tea. I watched part of so Cat was watching a like kind of like a how it's made sort of thing about tea. So I ended up kind of catching like the middle of it, and tea is actually super interesting. And some of the the history of it, and then it was interesting to hear how monolithic the Lipton Tea Company is. And tea bags are basically Americans invented the tea bag. So having tea bags is an American creation. Because before that, it was just loose leaf. So the more you know. So Notion token, other params. Info. I'll just say data. And then I'm going to copy and paste this whole thing because I can. And then what I'm going to do here is just do in bot ID, and hopefully GitHub Copilot is going to fill in the rest of this stuff for me. Yeah, GitHub Copilot, get at it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We're just going to be overly verbose. I know, like, I could, just assign the values directly over. GitHub Copilot is really cool for JavaScript. It does a pretty good job with Ruby. It doesn't. The job it does for Elixir is hit or miss, because sometimes it confuses Elixir. At least it looks like sometimes it's like whatever machine learning they were doing, the machine model sometimes forgets that notion that Elixir's not Ruby. So sometimes they'll suggest Ruby code. Hey, Lily, how's it going? How's your week been? Great work on the site, by the way. Sorry I didn't respond. I was recovering from vacation brain. But Lily is doing the 100 Days of Code challenge, and she's kicking butt while doing it. All right. So that should cover that. Let's get rid of these other debuggers here. Haven't had time off like this in a while. Having time off is really weird. Like legitimate time off, because you're just so used to being busy that when you have downtime, you're just kind of like, what do I do? Like, like you're just so because we're so used to following a routine that our whole body is like, routine's different now. Don't know what to do. Do I sleep all day? I'm out of tea, so I'm gonna be right back and get more tea. Going through stages of grief, so it's confusing. I'll be right back. Okay, back. Filled up my teacup or my coffee cup, but the teapot stopped warming the water. So, but luckily Zeal gave us these ember mugs, so like it's gonna heat it up again to I'll go ahead and heat up the water for me back to normal temperature, which is awesome. Let me check what temperature it's at right now, so I can just geek out. Honk. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's at 100 and wait. That's not right. Why do you think you're empty? Huh? The cup says that it's empty. Oh. Talking about, you're not empty. Oh, there you go. Now it's actually doing it. So it's like at 100 degrees. Dang it, VCam. I'm gonna wait for it to heat up the water a little bit. Okay. Let's see if everything's going to work. Let's see how everything works now. Select page, allow access. And then, oh, bot ID is not found on Notion strategy. Did it do the info? Did I gloss over something? Maybe we're not grabbing the data properly. Car IX pry. Do that. Oh wait, the info struct. Now that's inside OAuth. Oh, maybe this is a whole different other error. Okay, we're not going to use the info struct then. Because it's complaining that we were trying to use the info struct that is defined by OAuth, but the info that Notion provides us is completely different than the info that that OAuth expects. I think even if we were to try to do a request for user information, there's just this basic information. Let's try this again. Different errors mean progress. So in here, when we have the raw token, the raw info, we don't actually have a user right now. We just have the Notion token. So go back one. Cool. We made much more progress. Function init of undefined user such not available. So I think this went over to this guy right here, and this failed. Potentially. Because user session controller init1 is undefined. Module user session controller is not available. So function user session init. Why is it looking for init? My only guess is that here, let's make this matching a little less the pattern matching a little bit more lenient. And we'll just match on connection and params like this. And see what happens. Auth notion callback. Undefined. Let's take a look down here. So we're getting the same exact warning here in this. Is there a step that we're missing? Our setup. I'm going to go and take a look at the OAuth example. This is their Elixir app, their Phoenix app that is set up to use OAuth. So let's take a look at, cool, I remember the last time we had this open. I wonder if we're just missing. What if this is just missing something basic like let me take a look at the routing. Okay. User session controller init module user session is not available. Strategies helpers OAuth. There. What is missing? Handle the callback, fetching. We did all this fine. Oh, extra. What about this? Nope. What about this? Nope. All right. When all else fails, we do a little search. API web element controller. Oh. That doesn't appear to be it though. Well, let's try that anyway. So Notion, helpers, web. That does work. Oh, because of the scoping here. Oh. Oops. Well, that's something I can easily gloss over. So now I don't actually need to specify this because we've already scoped this to what module? There we go. It's always the small things. Okay. Excellent, excellent. We went through and we did a redirect. Let's see. Fail to authenticate though. How do we fail to authenticate if we got all the information? Let's see. There must be a step that's not properly configured. So failing to authenticate is set by Uber auth failure. When there is a failure for Notion, the failure is included in the Uber auth failure struct. Otherwise, information returned from Notion is returned in the Uber auth struct. Gotcha. All right, let's go back to the GitHub implementation. So when this is done, there's a failure in GitHub that is included in the Uber auth. Otherwise, information returned from GitHub is in turn returned in the Uber auth struct. And fetch user down here goes through this. Let's see. And then what does put private do? No, this looks fine. Oh, my mug just told me that the water temperature reached the optimal temperature. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. So, see. So the last thing that's returned here is put private. I don't get why this is airing out though. Okay, so that means we'll have to put the binding part here to look at what the payload is. Auth notion. Click on this. Click on that. Get to go down here. And then so we get all this information, but then we get this OAuth failure cross-site request forgery attack. There was a CRF attack. That's weird. Let's see, is there any special configurations for the example? Nothing that stands out. When did this occur? When would the cross-site request forgery error happen? Because after we do a handle callback, so that's angry because info is like is garbage. I guess what I can do here is actually here, let's make a small improvement here. We're gonna move, since it wants to conform that info has like certain things. We technically don't have any info yet, so we're just gonna return back an empty struct. So that should make the fetch for info happy. And then under extra, the struct for extra just lets there to be anything in the raw info. So I'm going to take all of this, put this in here. Trying to see if I can get the formatter to work, but for whatever reason it didn't. Let's get rid of these. Let's get rid of these arrows. We're switching these to colons. Back, back, back. And then get rid of the quotes. That. Excuse me. And then this is access token. I guess raw info could technically just be all of the connection. Private Notion token like this. So if we do that, we still get the failure on the callback because of some sort of CSRF issue. Now let's take a look at the Notion docs and see what's up. When defining by default, strategies must implement Gmail section 102 if you wish to disable such a feature. Okay, so there's some sort of CSRF configuration here that they're mentioning. And they're linking to the official documentation, which always is either great or super ambiguous. Send to the redirect URI endpoint to include a value that binds the request to user agent authentication. Okay, so maybe I just have to set like the CSRF permissions on Elixir then on our Phoenix application. Client must implement CRF protection for its redirect URI. This is typically accomplished by requiring any request sent to the redirect URI endpoint to include a value that binds the request to the user agent's authentication state. Okay. So does that mean I missed a step in terms of setup? Injection poison. By default, all URLs are only available via the get method. You can override this option via strategy. In which we did the get here. In the documentation or authentication. So finally, the integration exchanges authorization code for access token by sending an HTTP post request. Wait, no, that's me sending a HTTP post request. I got too excited. Grant information. Grant access to integration will receive incoming request to the redirect URI and the following information. All right. I'm trying to answer my first thought. By implementing that callback phase, clean up continued pipeline example. Looking at OAuth. Cleanup phase. Use OAuth strategy. Let's see if setting that ignore to true actually makes it work. And we can build from there. Odd. Let's try this again. Getting the token doesn't work. And that's because we did this. So if we go back, select the page, click the button. Then we hit that. Oh, we get the whole OAuth redirect thing. Let's see. So let's take a look at the implementation for GitHub and see if there's any mention for CSRF. There is none. How about in this repo? Okay, let's do a little search then. Uber OAuth CSRF there. Auth 0, OAuth error. Okay, so exactly what I'm seeing. So this started in version 0.7 back in April. PR for basically to remove the option to specifically state that just by default use the state params. In case you're interested more about the background behind this issue, the error mentioned above was caused by the latest update to OAuth mentioned by where they built in support for CRF protection. They did this by automatically generating a state token on the connection and comparing the state given on the callback to the state param that was generated in the initial request. Yeah, okay. The way we provide this. Okay, so I remember that there was some code that I kind of had that I had copy pasted about the state. Check credentials. I remember somewhere we were doing something with state. Let's check the GitHub one. With state param, handle request with state param. So in handle request. There's that. Okay, let me just keep on reading this then. As on configuration, which means that the state param would be static, even if we set the ignorance to true, it will not be really protected. It will be wrong here and misunderstanding. Configure really interpreting approach. Generating state tokens on a per user basis seems to be the most secure, having a static value. Not the above change, we either have to or use a state param provided by OAuth to fill in the state param. Send to OAuth. Because this deals with security during authentication, I feel like it's important to update. Okay. Currently, I use state params to store some user state before login happens. It's very opinionated. You have this CRF protection turned on, and you have to use their custom state value or turn it off. Okay, so let me. So that's a change. Okay. It looks like I might be able to take action on this. Use OAuth strategy. Plug info credentials, blah, blah, blah. And then what's this doing down here? Handle request. The options. Where's URL? Okay, so these are our options with state params. So I'm going to overwrite this with potentially this. So require, and I'm throwing a debugger in here to see exactly what the payload looks like. IEX pry. Hold on. So it does that, and then map put state. Let's make sure what map put does. Why is this taking forever to search? There we go. So it puts a new item in the map. Okay. So this would probably be more accurate to do this, because the way that this is right now, it's already an array. I don't want to like fiddle with this too much. So that, and then we're dealing with list. Would be enum, not list. Enum. Yeah, all the different methods again. Whatever. Enum cat. Enum cat. And we try again. Apparently we didn't hit this handle request section here. Notion. Handles the redirect from the Notion authentication page. There we go. Okay, the debugger was just a little bit late. Let's bring us down below again. Authentication failed. It's probably going to fail for the exact same reason. We try doing this one more time. Because if not, then the code we have is buggy. Ops. So I think the state, yeah, so it's the state that's being all janky. So let me try this. Because in the documentation, it does say that we need to match the state. Because during the authentication flow, we get state. If the user was in the middle of an interaction with the operation, this parameter can be used to restore the data after the user returns. This also can be used to prevent CSRF attacks. So then when we get the state back, provided to integration of the user was prompted for access. And then we do the grant. For whatever reason, even though we do this whole process successfully, it still gets very angry at us about the state of everything. So auth Notion, let's start from scratch. Yes. Oops. Yes. Okay. Same thing. So is the state we're getting back not the same state that we're receiving? So authorization. So let's see here again. So that's the state that, so state is not required. What happens if I just completely remove that then? Still fails. Just with an empty state this time. All right. Getting tired of putting debug or having the pry in there. So we get the state. And let's grab the raw state. So let's save that. We'll print out the information I want. So there's the state. And the state matches. So why is it not validating that it likes the state? So there's something in the OAuth code when getting the callback. That's completely just glossing over usage of the state. Let's take a look at the OAuth code then on GitHub. CSRF. CSRF. So here we go. Add state mismatch error. Okay. So add state mismatch error happens on run callback state params match. Okay, so what does state params match do? It grabs the state, the param state from, so it grabs it from the params, and then it tries to check get state cookie. Okay. So that helper for state param. So it's looking for it in the cookie. So in the logic we were looking at before. So where do we make that mistake? CR text apart. Does CR tech use this strategy? Ignorance or false? Let's look at what OAuth does then, because they had this issue. So I want to see how they fix this. Or not OAuth. Auth 0. Let's see. Parse param, fetch user state. Okay. View. That's a new one. And you got a new emote. Oh, from Amanda. Ah. Pew, 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 pew. That's what it is, right? It's their air horn thing. You guess you got gifted a sub. Oopsie. So nothing about state there. The only thing I see different here is that onto the connection they add auth 0 state. Like so. Let's do Notion. Let user state. The kettle has been refilled. Nice, because I am almost out. Thank you. That's the only other it's the only other thing I could think about doing. Doesn't look like anywhere else in the auth0 code are they referencing state in any other file other than this one, a test file. Auth Notion. Click on that. You still get the failure. because OAuth wants to this is OAuth get. This is the OAuth example. I'm going to close this for now. And then this is just regular OAuth code. Where's the error? CSI. So here's the thing again. Add state mismatch error. And then state params mismatch, it grabs it out of this. If not, it will do this. And like I was looking at before, this is grabbing it out of the params, the state, and then it checks if nil or the param cookie is equal to the get state cookie, which is down here, which puts the state params cookie name. Get state params cookie name. Do we have a cookie with that information right now? Let's see. So cookies. We just have the nudge helpers, and then we have this value here. Nope. Let's see. Add state params. Oh, look at this. Add state params. And this adds it to the cookie. And then helpers add. So for the behavior, if add state param. So I think early on we were using a method called add state params. We'll see if we can get this done. Or we have to sign off. State param. So add state param. Typos. Okay. And then add state param takes in a connection. And this grabs the state put response cookie, the state. So this is create state param. Now this doesn't seem 100% right because we're getting the state param from, we're not creating the state param. I believe, are we? Auth authorize, so prompting the user to add an integration. So client ID, yeah, we are creating the state. If the user was in the middle of doing the integration, so we pass in the state, then we pass in the state param. This is incorrect right here. So we go to GitHub. But with state param does it slightly differently. Where does add state param come from? It's from here. Maybe add state param goes to run request, which gets called elsewhere. And we still get the failure because it couldn't match any of the state. Because it's not in the cookie. What is this defined as? Raw state param. My only guess is when we're doing the request to the secondary request to actually exchange the token for the access token. we fail. Because here's the code, here's the state, and then get token. Get token goes over here. And I think that's probably where we need to pass the state in. After the grant, code receives the redirect UR for the following information. Body request contains the following JSON encoded field. After the user grants X, the integration will receive the incoming request, redirect URI. Code and state. Please note the HTTP basic credentials. And that's where the exchange for state ends. So why is this enforcing? So add mismatch error happens on run callback. Run callback. Not sure when that gets called. There we go, it's documented right here. Request authentication against the provider, callback, case the provider, GitHub, blah, 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 connection, OAuth, run callback, handle callback. But the state cookie was always good. All right. We're just going to get rid of that state param thing, and we're going to go ahead and try to set that argument for ignoring CSRF. CSRF. Overall strategy. That we'll see, because last time we tried to do this, it errored out. Get rid of that debugging statement. Select the page. Then we got a status code 400. Invalid grant. Nice. And that's because it's still trying to include state as part of the options here, I think. Because when I tried to do the grant flow here for getting the token, I think it tried to include the state. Based off the looks of what was happening here. I was trying to do get token, and that would have called inside the module of get token here, and then that's where it failed. So the options are the params of get token included the state in here is what I'm thinking. So when we're calling get token over yonder, right here, we're passing in just a little bit more information that we need to. So let me get rid of that because we're not using state. And then let's go ahead and put a binding pry. Let's go ahead and put a pry right here to actually see if my assumption, verify my assumption. Let's see, do we have state here? I do not see a state being passed in. Cool. We get the debugger. So what is my params? Code. What are my options? Empty. Cool. When the user was prompted for an access token. And then this is where it breaks. Right here. Because user was prompted for an access token. But it returned back nothing. Funny thing is that in the documentation, it says that state is not required. So it's like if there's no state, are we just passing an empty string? Because it's status code of 400. Error invalid grant. So filled right here on the get token. So what, am I just gonna do like state empty string with options? Options. Yes. Options, state is empty. Params is that. Let's continue. And then we get invalid grant. All right, I guess we're gonna have to shelve this until next time. Because we weren't able to get past the state issue, the CRF issue. CSRF issue with matching up the state. So invalid grant, the provided authorization grant, authorization, e.g. the authorization code, resource owner credentials, or refresh token is invalid, expired, revoked, or does not match the redirection URI in the authorization request, or was issued to another client. So that's what's going on. So it could be any one of those things. It looks like it might just be just flat out invalid. Because of the missing state. So not sure. We'll just tackle this on Friday, next Friday. Just doing one more shot in the dark with the setting the state to empty. See what happens. Yeah, invalid grant. So it looks like it wants, even though the documentation says that it wants the state parameters could be empty. It's enforcing that the state's there, I'm thinking. Might have to dig a little bit deeper to see exactly how this get token, this OAuth 2 client get token works. But that's for another day. You can just pass a static string for the state. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna have. That might be just the way to go. And then somehow allow the static string to be configured on the application configuration. So if we were to pass a static string here, let's see. Let's go back a couple to where I was manually putting in the state here. So let's try doing that idea real quick before let's try to see if we can end on a good note. So we're going to do a state of foobar, and then so that's the state we're going to be passing in. And then here we're not even going to care about the param here. And then as this right here, we can just say foobar again right here. I don't think we need the foobar for getting the token. Let's double check. Can't remember now because we've been changing things so many times. We do. So we say foobar there. We hard code it there. I don't care about that right there. We don't need a pipe anymore because we're only doing one singular thing. State doesn't exist. Okay, that's just catching up. And then, so since we're setting the params as foobar, that's just going to get passed in through here. So when we make the request to authorize, we're sending foobar. And then when we come back and we're doing the token, we're manually sending foobar. So let's go with that. So let's check up here. So our state is foobar. Great. Select, allow. And then we still get unauthorized. And I'm pretty sure, and then, so now that I remember, along with doing that in the code over here for OAuth, it was going to look at the cookie for to try to find that. Hey, Black Hawk Panda. Thank you very much for the 12 months. That deserves some air horns. Thank you very much. How you doing, Panda? How's your day off? We just need to fix this so we'll go with the hard-coded we'll go with the quote hard-coded CSRF or state token, but the last thing we need to do is we need to either overwrite or set the cookie for the check that occurs for the mismatch. So add mismatch state, this guy right here happens up here. And then that happens because of this check here, where it grabs the state and then it tries to grab. I wonder if I can just, it'd be nice if I can just overwrite this. I think I can. Let's see if I can just overwrite this. Is equal to foobar. And I'm curious if we'll actually get in here, so pry. I don't think I can overwrite this because it's private in this module, in the original strategy module. Said errands instead of air horns. Haha. Nice. That made it more of a surprise when the air horns happened. Yeah, I guess I can't override it as I'm using the strategy. Crescent decorators. We'll see, because it doesn't know this because it's like nested somewhere else. This is the last shot on the dark we'll do. But we have, well, we'll just go with the, just like with Poisonous Cupcake said, we'll just go with a more manual approach to setting the state. Nope, still hit the callback. Okay, we'll just have to figure out how to set the. I'll have to figure out how to set the cookie later. But we're inching closer. So wherever it gets state cookie, where this happens, which is down here, which is fetch session, map, get cookies, and then it gets the what would want to put into the cookie. Wherever that happens. All right. That's it for me. There it is. Put response cookie right there. That's how we would do it. I just found it. Let's keep on going. What's our constant here? And then this requires a connection to be passed to it first. Picture response. Then we want an alias plug connection. That's what that's complaining about because we haven't imported it in. Let's get rid of this because that turned out to not be a thing we can do. And this a goal. Still fails. Feels bad, man. I'm about to go into the module code and try to add debuggers to see exactly why that comparator, what that comparator is actually finding, and fix it. Or figure out what's going on because it's trying to get the cookie. You know, it's supposed to grab the cookie, the state, and compare it, but there's obviously a disconnect going on right here. So maybe the params don't have state in it. Don't know yet. Because there should be state right there. But something's up. So I'll probably have to go and just dive into the code, module code, for OAuth and just put debugger statements, loggers, whatever it is, to figure out why this is failing right here. I mean, we know where it's happening. We just need to figure out why now. And we can continue that next week. And then on to more fun stuff. And then a break after that to work on the little Pomodoro timer idea. That's going to be cool. So, thanks everyone for hanging out. Thanks for the help. Thanks for the raid, Amino, and thank you for all the follows. I hope you all have a good weekend, and hopefully your Friday ends as good as it starts, or gets better actually. And yeah, I'll catch you next Friday for the next Zeal stream. Otherwise, you can catch me on Sunday at